How we doing this week, boys? Is Tuya doing a weekly wrap up for week 4 of our fantasy football season. I got some feedback from our so-called king of fantasy football, Mr. Alex Pennant, and sorry about your luck, Alex. I guess probably shouldn't have said anything. Had to put a whooping on you. 131-94. Team just didn't show up. It's no surprise. I mean, playing me. What are you gonna do? Maybe next time you won't call me boring. You probably will anyway, but that's okay. I'll just whoop your ass again next time we play. Anyway, that moves me to 3-1. Alex to 2-2. Let's see, what do we got? Travis versus Joe. Travis took down a big win, 116-104. It's a tough loss for Joe, dropping him to 1-3. Travis, you're at 2-2, right in the middle of the pack. We have Chuck versus Mike Munger. Chuck pulled out a win, 110-94, moving him to 3-1. And Munger, you're 0-4, dude. Are you even trying this year? Or, well, actually, you probably are. It's just that you drafted all the Giants roster of guys who are all hurt, probably, and they don't do anything for your team. So that basically eliminates you right off the jump. You're usually good for a few wins and your conspiracy theories, but now you're probably going to be whining about being 0-4 or 0 and whatever you end up, and along with your conspiracy theories, so it should be pretty funny. Then we had the trade that happened, the two teams involved in that went up against each other this week. Mr. Mike Miller took down the win, 117-115 over Dave. Not really much to say about that, except that this shit was hilarious. And then we have Winston, who pulled out a win over Nate, 110-84. Nate, your team just didn't show up. And according to people that, whatever, who think fantasy football all the time, our trade, you were going to be like scoring ridiculous amounts of points over the guys I got from you, but that's not happened yet, but we'll give it some time and see. Winston, you finally got a win. Nate, you got a loss finally. And apparently I doomed your team for the rest of the year, Nate, because you did this last year where you won a few games at the beginning of the season and then didn't win another game. So I guess it starts your year-long losing streak now going forward, and you'll miss the playoffs for a year. Are we in? This is the 5th or 6th year we've had this league, so, and you've never made the playoffs ever. I mean, ever. So, sorry about your luck, man. Let's move over to the standings. Through week 4, Nate is on top by virtue of points. Then you have Chuck, Mike Miller, and myself. We're all at 3-1. And then you have the 2-2 teams, starting with Dave, then Travis, Alex, and then you have the 2 1-3 teams, Winston and Joe, and you have the cellar dweller all by his lonesome, Mr. Mike Munger, at 0-4. Sucks to be you. And let's look ahead to next week's matchups and see what we got cooking. Have myself going against Mr. Miller in a battle of 3-1s. Have Joe versus DC. Joe needs to pull out a win to get out of the bottom slots of the playoff race. Nate versus Travis, the Raider fags going against each other. So nobody really cares because they're Raider fags. And you got Chuck versus Alex. Alex already took down a win in that one, seeing how Florida just beat LSU. So we'll see who pulls out the sweep. Alex can sweep him, or if Chuck can regain some honor here and beat him in fantasy football. And then you got the battle of two terrible teams. Winston at 1-3 and Mike Munger at 0-4. Nobody really cares about this game because both teams suck. So whoever wins, it doesn't really matter. So that wraps up our weekend review for week 4, and we'll see you on the Fantasy Football Gridiron, boys. Cheers.